Yeah, good morning, friends. This is Mr. Sanjay Nadgowda, Urf Kulkarni from Belgaum, and I will be teaching you English as a new English teacher appointed from today onwards. Okay, so let us learn togetherly, understand the concept of learning, and our main motto is to get a good marks and also with a full of understanding. Fine. We're going to start with today's new topic: the best Christmas present in the world. The name of the topic is The Best Christmas Present in the World. The author of the lesson is Michael Morpurgo. Michael Morpurgo is the writer, and we are going to have some points here which have been mentioned on the board. The one is central idea of the lesson. Number two, we are going to know the word meanings. Number three, character sketch. How many characters are there and their role? Number four, question and answers discussion. And the number five, writing skills which are being asked to you in this lesson. So here we start with the best Christmas present in the world. Now before to start with the lesson, when we give the present, we give the present on account of birthday, marriage, or any ceremonies are being found, functionals, maybe traditional, etc. On that particular occasion, we give the present or a gift to someone whom we love, whom we have respect, whom we care more. Is it not? And as an invited guest, even we take a bouquet or some or the other gift on that particular occasion. All depends upon that particular function. So presents are given on the best wishes on that particular occasions and all. Even it may be a home opening ceremony, okay, or marriages or any other parties, etc. Fine. Here also we are going to see the Christmas present here. So the best Christmas presents in the world is being shown on the account of Christmas. The writer is Michael Morpurgo. Let's know about the central idea of the lesson. The author went to a junk shop in Bridport. He went to a junk shop, place named Bridport. Bridport is the place. Bridport is the place. He noted a roll top desk. So what did he see? He saw a roll top desk. Roll top desk. He liked it. Let's see. It was a very old and made of oak. Oak is a kind of tree and a kind of wood. OAK. Oak is a kind of tree or a wood. It was in a bad condition. It was in a bad condition and it had burned marks down one side. So somewhere that desk was being burnt also, one of the end. And you can see since it was a cheap, the author decided to buy it and get it repaired. And the author thought that let me take it because it was in a cheaper rate, second hand, some burnt used one. And he wanted to modify it. He began working on it on Christmas Eve, and as how the Christmas is coming near, and on account of Christmas Eve, what he started? He started to make it a new and modifying one. Okay, renovation we call it. He removed the roll top and tried hard to pull over the drawer. So he removed the top part, he tried to pull the drawer. The drawer was very hard, stiff, not able to open because it was not used for a long years. It had suffered much damage to the fire and water. So it has taken a water also and a fire also, somewhere openly kept in the nature. So it has become hard and stiff. The drawer was jammed and then the drawer was totally jammed. It was not able to move, it was not able to come out. He hit it hard with his fist and pulled it out. So lastly he bit with the fist, tried to pull it out and got success. He found a secret drawer underneath. He took out a small box which was of a black tin. And again in the drawer there was a small compartment, and in that compartment there was a small black colored tin box. Tin means metal. Okay, let's see what is there. There was a note on it that said, Jim's last letter received on January 25, 1915. So on that box, in that iron box, it was mentioned that there was a small letter. In that letter, it was mentioned Jim's last letter received on January 25. Received on January 25, 1915. So now the Jim is one more character you can find here. Okay, author and comes then Jim. Now let's see who is the Jim. The letter writer also wished to put it in her grave, and the letter writer also wished to put it in her grave. In her grave means in her death place where she is buried. So that letter has to be mentioned, the letter is mentioned to be kept on her grave place. Okay, let's see. Out of curiosity, he opened the box. Inside it, he found an envelope with the address. With a great curiosity, he opened the box, maybe what important things are there and all, the author. But what was there in that box? There was a small letter, and again, it was enveloped on Mr. Jim MacPherson, Mrs. Jim MacPherson. Address is Mrs. Jim MacPherson was the name which was in the letter addressed. 12 Copper Beaches, Bridport, Dorset. And there also the same address has been mentioned. 12 Copper Beaches is the lane, Bridport, Dorset. The letter was dated December 26, 1914. December 26, 1914. And the first one which you can see, Jim's last letter received on January 25, 19. January 25, 1915. So this is how the difference you can find. Let's come to the next part. The letter writer also wished to put it in a grave. Out of curiosity, he opened the box. Inside it, he found an envelope with the address Miss Jean MacPherson, 12 Copper Beaches, Bridport, Dorset. The letter was dated December 26, 1914. So December 26, 1914 was the letter posted. The letter had been written to Jim to his wife Connie. Now this letter was written by Jim and his wife Connie, Connie, Connie. So Jim's wife named Connie, and Jim had written this letter to Connie. He was a soldier sent against the Germans during the First World War. Jim was a soldier. He was being sent against the Germans during the First World War, and he was found participating in the First World War and fighting with the enemy, and they were the enemies named German. Okay. Then Jim wrote to her that he was happy because something wonderful had happened, and Jim had wrote to his wife, Miss Jim MacPherson, that something had happened in his life, something strange or something new. Let's know what is that. The soldiers on both sides of the no man's land were taking up positions in their trenches. It was Christmas morning, cold and frosty. So both the side on the borders of German and the another part, they were taking a walk, and both the trenches were seen that with a full tight security and all. But nothing could happen like on account of Christmas, and everyone was being seen in a different way. It was a big surprise to be greeted like friends by the enemies, and the enemies invited them, the English people, and the German peoples to each other, and they had a friendship on account of Christmas instead of going for a battle and a war. So this new change came in the time of Christmas. It was a morning cold and frosty. The morning was very cold, even it was frosty. But now the enmity went, instead of catching weapons and all, they turned into a friendship, wearing a blankets and all, and they started to celebrate the Christmas. It was a Christmas morning. James saw the German soldiers waving a white flag, and Germans were waving a white flag. They were calling out the English soldiers to say Happy Christmas, and Germans called all the English people and said Merry Christmas and a Happy Christmas. So this is how the change came now. It was a big surprise to be greeted like friends by the enemies. So this was the best gift. The enemies have greeted and welcomed the Germans and the English, and they started to celebrate the Christmas party. The English soldiers also wished them in return, and this is how you can see English soldiers also started to welcome and invited them on account of Christmas. The leaders said that they wanted to celebrate the festival, and the leaders of English as well as German, they said now we want to celebrate the festival Christmas, and all the enemies should drop the enmity and go for a Christmas celebration. Grey coats and khaki coats mingled in the middle. So there were the one country wearing grey coats and the one country was wearing khaki coats. Now they all came together and mingled. Mingled means started discussing and then giving a hug, shaking hands, etc. and warm welcome on account of Christmas. You can see in the time of war they were making peace. And though there was a war, World War II, but still they were expecting to maintain peace. The German soldiers who came first was named Hans Wolf. So the first soldier from German came and welcomed and greeted the English people. His name was Hans Wolf, Hanswolf, Hans Wolf. Before joining the army, he used to play the cello in an orchestra. So before joining army, he used to play orchestra in the orchestra a cello. Okay, and so he is going to play now a cello on account of Christmas. Jim had been a school teacher in Dorset, whereas what was the role of Jim before becoming a soldier? He was a teacher in a place called Dorset. Hans lied that he knew the Dorset well, and Hans lied. Lied means he told lie that I know Dorset and the place very well. Okay. In fact, he had read about the place in Hardy's novel Far from the Madding Crowd. Actually, he had read about the Dorset in a novel, and the novel was written by whom? Hardy's novel. Okay, and in that Hardy's novel, the name of the novel is Far from the Madding Crowd. Far from the Madding Crowd means the people are very mad over there, crazy. That's all. So he says that I am knowing about the Dorset. Okay, indirectly to point out whom? Point out G. That the people in the Dorset are mad and crazy. The soldiers from the rival camp smoked, laughed, drank, and feasted. This is how the soldiers from the rival camp, means the enemy camp, rivals, opposite camp, were joining, laughing, drinking, enjoying, and even celebrating the feast, etc., taking the rich food. Okay. Hans said that he liked the marzipan, the sweet covering on Jim's bread. Even Hans said that he liked the jam or that which is covered sweet part on the bread. That was taken by whom? Taken by Jim. That is called marzipan. Jim wrote in the letter that he had never seen or imagined a Christmas party like that. And this is how Jim came to know how beautifully it is celebrated. And he says that he never came to know about about the celebration of a Christmas party in such a way, the enemies coming together in such a time, and that too in the juncture of World War II. The countries then should have better resolved their disputes by playing a football or cricket match because no one dies in a match whereas or leaves behind orphans and widows. Okay, and this is how they played the football, English versus the Germans. They also played the cricket and they say by cricket playing or a football playing we may lose or win the match but we won't die. But in the war what happens? We leave the widows and orphans and that we don't want. Okay. The game was finished, so did the drinks and cakes. Jim told Hans that they hoped to see families as soon as the fighting ended by Christmas next year. So this is how the game was finished. They had a drinks, they had a food, tea, snacks, etc., whatever it is. And Jim was saying that to whom? To the Hans, the opposite enemy soldier. That very soon we want to go to our places and see our families, be with them. Okay, and by the very next Christmas, the World War should get over. There should be no war or bloodshed. The author put the letter back into the envelope and wrote into Bridport. This is how the letter was put into the envelope and kept into the drawer there itself in the Bridport. In the Bridport. He meant to hand over the letter to Connie, Miss Macpherson. So he wanted to give this letter or hand over to Connie, that is wife, Miss Macpherson. Connie was now 101 years old and she was of 101 years old, an old lady. Her house had caught fire, but she was safe. So her house was caught by fire, but she was safe and saved. She she was in a conservatory. Now she was in a conservatory, taken in a precautions, or you can say in a hospitalized. The author wished her happy Christmas and gave the letter to her. This is how even the author also wishes her that wish you a Merry Christmas and handed over her a letter. She recognized the writing of her husband and felt very happy. As how she could see the letter of Mr. Jim, she was very happy to know about Jim. She mistook the author for Jim, who had come home as promised on Christmas. And she took it a misunderstanding. The author itself is a Mr. Jim who had promised her once upon a time will be coming on a Christmas. But it was not Mr. Jim, it was an author. Lastly, she kissed the author on the cheek and asked him to read the letter to her. And this is how, with the love, she gave a kiss on his cheek and asked her and requested him to read the letter. She wanted to listen to the voice of her husband, and she wanted to see even the voice of her husband. She said that he, Jim himself, was the best Christmas present to her. And so, Jim was the only best Christmas present to her. So, this is all about the lesson. Okay. Now, let us know about the vocabulary. Spotted, noticed, or found. Junk shop, a shop selling junk, scrap shop. Oak, a kind of a tree or a kind of wood. Roll top desk, a desk with a sliding cover. Expensive, very costly. Mended, repaired. Scorch marks, burnt marks. Restore, repair. Garage, car shed. Drawers, veneer, a thin layer of a decorative wood. Lifted, rose. Okay. And you can see carpet, parapet, the wall on the side of the wall. Curiosity, desire to know, shallow, hollow, brute force, a great force. Okay, underneath, below, sharply, powerfully, damaged, lost, taken their doll, damaged, stuck, fixed, gripping, holding firmly, outstretched, extended, frosty, cold, trenches, a hiding place, outstretched, extended, cello, a musical instrument, trumped, put, piles, heaps, resolve, wind up, stamping, beating on the floor, orphaned, lost parents, probably, perhaps, mingling, mixing up, generously, liberally, rousing, warm spirited, dugouts, trenches, unwillingly, without calling, conservative, a glass house for taking rest, that is ICU, intensive care unit. Crispy bun, thin, not or coil, vacantly, with blank, recognition, identification, stroked, run her hand gently, glow, shine, suffused with, spread all over, tenderly, lightly. So this is all about the things. Okay, written by Michael Morpurgo. Then we are going to come to know about the next part is the question and answers. What do these question answers say? How did the author find Jim's letter? What did it contain? The author finds Jim's letter in the small black tin box put in the drawer of an old table. Jim's letter was addressed to his wife. He was a British soldier, but he was glad to have celebrated Christmas together with German soldiers. He put down his thoughts in the letter and promised to come back home on Christmas. Jim talks about an incident that had happened at the front. What was it? Front means the border. England and Germany were at war with each other. The British soldiers were waiting to shoot the German soldiers, but on Christmas, a strange development took place. The German soldiers came out of their hiding places and called out Happy Christmas. They were unarmed and they waved a white flag. The British soldiers, led by Captain Jim MacPherson, agreed to celebrate the festival together. So Jim MacPherson was also a soldier and author. Was a soldier and an important character of whose of Jim. Connie is his wife. Remember. Who are Fritz and Tommy in the story? Now Fritz and Tommy are the names given to the Germans and the British soldiers respectively. Okay, Fritz and Tommy. Once upon a time we can say like a rat and cat. Rat and cat always keep fighting and quarreling. Similarly, in the World War II, there was the biggest enmity or the strongest enmity found in the German and English. So they were called Fritzy and Tommy with the fun. But then later they got friendly. Describe what had happened to Miss MacPherson. Describe her condition. Miss MacPherson lived alone after her husband Jim MacPherson went to join the British Army during the First World War. One day her house caught fire, but she was saved by the firemen. From then she had been in a nursing home for treatment. She had grown extremely old and couldn't walk on herself, and her life get confined to a wheelchair. She was also adopted with a wheelchair. Last question. Describe in brief the author's meeting with Connie. How author met Connie? That is Mrs. Jim McPherson. Connie or Miss McPherson was 101 years old. When the author took Jim's letter to her in a nursing home, she became very excited. Her eyes lit up and she mistook the author for her husband. She kissed his cheek. She said that she had been reading his letter every day. She wanted to hear his voice. She had also made a Christmas cake for him as he had promised to come home. She thought that he had come back home. She called his presence at home as the best Christmas present for her in the world. This is all about the best Christmas present. Now let us go for writing skills. Okay. Imagine you are a Jim. You have returned to your town after the war. In your diary, record how you feel about the changes you see and the events that occur in your town. You could begin like this. 25 December 1919. It's Christmas today, but the town looks dot dot dot. So this is all about diary entry. Let us see about diary entry. 25 December 1919. Leave one line, next line. It's Christmas today, but the town looks very much different from what I had imagined. It has been ravaged by war. Buildings are in ruins, and there is a graveyard silence. My own house burnt when it was hit by a bombardment. The events of war have taken a toll on civilians as well as soldiers. I hate the fighting instincts in us and curse the war's mongers. You can say mongers or mongers. Can't we live in peace like brothers? This is about diary entry. So if you have a writing of a diary or diary entry, this is one of the best sample. Okay, you can make on your own also your notes. Question number 2 in writing skills. Suppose you are the visitor, you are in a dilemma, you don't know whether to disclose your identity and disappoint the old lady or let her believe that her dear Jim has come back. Write the letter to your friend highlighting your anxiety, fears and feelings. Now address 12th A Block 4 Dorset, August 10, 2009. Dear Smith, I am in dilemma. It seems to be insolvable. I therefore seek your help in making a decision. You know, I had purchased an old desk. Inside it, I got a box containing an old letter. It was written by Jim, a British soldier, to his wife. I decided to deliver that letter to Miss Jim at Bridport. I reached her house. She was 101 years old. When I gave her the letter, her eyes lit up. She thought I was her long lost husband Jim, who had come home to keep his promise. She was excited and she kissed me. She didn't listen to what I tried to tell her about my identity. I don't know whether or not I should tell who I am. I only walked away from her quickly. This is all about the letter writing. Coming to the next part of writing skill is the story writing. Given below is the outline of a story. Construct the story using the outline. A young newly married doctor freedom fighter exiled to the Andaman and Nicobar Island by the British in a famous cellular jail prisoners tortured revolt by inmates doctors hanged wife waits for his return becomes old continues to wait with the hope and faith. Now we have to make a story on the given outline. It was the year 1930. India was a British colony, but English education enlightened a section of people. They started fighting for freedom. A young, newly married doctor was convicted in a conspiracy case by making a plan. Okay, he was trapped. He was sent to Blackwaters, Kalapani. It was a group of islands in the Bay of Bengal. So this place is in the Bay of Bengal, Kalapani. Many freedom fighters and revolutionaries were sent there for life imprisonment. So many of the freedom fighters were being taken there for life imprisonment and they died there itself. They were not sent back to their families or to their country. They were put in cellular jail for a few years, and they were put in a jail which was strongly cellular, made of a metallics and ionic contents. Jail for a few years. They were subjected to torture, and in the jail they were being tortured mercilessly. The doctor was hanged to death, but his wife kept waiting for the return for her husband, and the wife was awaiting badly with a great curiosity that her husband will come one or the other day. She grew old, and she started to grow old as how the days went and the passage of time. However, her hope and faith did not fade. But her hope and faith she did not give up, that she was still thinking that her husband will come one or the other day. And she died in the same expectations. This is all about the writing skills. You have come to know the sample of a letter writing, diary entry, as well as a story writing. And we have also completed today our first topic, the best Christmas present in the world. Okay, I hope you all of you have understood about this lesson today, and I request you people to go through once, read the lesson, make familiar with the new words and vocabulary, make them in sentences, new sentence formations. Also go for some writing skills which are given back of the text, and be updating yourself for the coming exams. Okay, I wish you all the best. See you in the next class. Thank you.